Right. Good morning. Good morning. So you got me all by yourself today. Just waiting here. Let me get my stuff situated. So I got comments and all that going on. How's everybody doing this morning? Mark Cox here out in rainy California, which is unusual for us, but welcome the rain. We had a Chatsworth parade yesterday. We did a Christmas parade yesterday, and it was steaming rain in the morning. And we're like, wow, we're going to rain or shine. The thing still goes on. And then all of a sudden, you ought to have seen this. It's from the mountains to the other side of the valley, this giant rainbow that came across. And I mean, it was just awesome looking. And I was like, wow, that's the Lord right there, man. Painting in the sky like only he can do, which is a rainbow, which is awesome to see. And so that was, then all of a sudden, the rain broke. We were able to do a great parade. We came down and we were able to perform and do all of our stuff, and the rain went away. So it was a great day. So listen, so you got me just by myself. We're going to chat a little bit. If you guys got questions, you're welcome to pop them in here in the comments real quick. If you guys are watching, you got some comments, you got some questions for me, you're welcome to. I want to just take this time. I didn't have an interview guest this week because it's starting to do countdown for me. As you can see behind me in my fireplace and the Christmas tree. If you don't know stuff about me, one thing about me is I am a Christmas fanatic. I love it. As a matter of fact, during the pandemic, when we were just kind of in the house all the time and all that kind of stuff, I just kept the Christmas tree up all year round. Just if I had to be home all that time, I just wanted to make sure that I can look at something awesome, and that's exactly what I did. And we had a good time having the Christmas tree up, and we decorated it for 4th of July, and we decorated it for Easter, and we just did all that kind of stuff, and just used the tree as it was for the whole year, and kept it up in the pandemic. It was awesome. But Christmas time is something I really like. I enjoy trains. I enjoy Christmas trees. I enjoy fireplaces. I enjoy them all. So it just kind of fits my vibe for today. And so I want to talk a little bit about some stuff that's coming up in 2023. And I want to talk to you about some stuff. I hope that you are getting yourself ready for the new year. And I'm not a big fan of let's have what's it called? Resolutions and all that kind of stuff, because it takes everybody's super motivated to have resolutions, right? I'm motivated to have a resolution, and my resolution is going to be to this. And then all of a sudden, a little bit of life gets in the way and our resolutions go down the toilet. And then we never have a resolution. We have we have no resolutions, and all we do is reveal. And then we have negative talk to ourselves like, I'm just a failure. It's not going to happen anyway. We'll do it next year. And then all of a sudden the other year piles up, and all of a sudden it's here. And so I just want to give you guys some insights, guys, a little bit about mindset and what I kind of did for 2022. I know in 2021, I said, you know what? It's time for me to go to my next step in my journey. And that is, I've gotten to be a little bit of an older martial artist now. So I've been doing this since, I don't know. I started taking class in 1982. I wasn't a kid when I did it. I was in my 20s, in 20 or 21, one of the two. And that's when I started martial arts along with my brother. And I just said, I just had a love for it, but I didn't have it as a child. And I had a lot of growing to do as an adult. Like I'm sure that some of you guys can resonate with that, I'm sure. And so I decided that, okay, well, let's go to the next level, and I'm going to get this black belt, and somehow I'm going to open up a school. And then that's what I did. And my journeys, even to opening up a school, to everything else in between, has been quite a story, And so I decided that in 2022 that I'm going to write this book. And I've had the title of the book in my mind for a really, really long time, right? And it's, my book is called Beyond the Mat. If you haven't seen it, maybe you pre-ordered it already, but if you haven't, this is it right here, right? And I have a website for it. It's called beyondthematbook.com, and you can go in there and you can pre-order. They're going to be released here very soon. It actually comes on, let's see, I'm going to be in Philadelphia the weekend of January 6th, the first weekend in January. And that's when I'm releasing this book. That's when we release the book. And so for those of you, because I've sold about 150 copies, I think, in pre-order, you guys will all have those in the mail as soon as they are printed. I'll autograph them all and have them sent out. And so if you haven't seen it, or if you haven't looked at the book, it's called Beyond the Mat, and it's life lessons in grit, grind, and growth. These are 3 things that I believe that I did. Well, let's not say I hit it out of the park every time, but it was definitely a mindset that I didn't want to fail, and I had to do some things. And I don't know if you agree with me or not, but sometimes when we sit back in life and we're looking back at ourselves and we're so in the fight right there or in the arena, we don't really see the impact that we could have on other people, right? So I was like, okay, well, let's take a look at what the impact's going to look like. You know, is there a way that we can um, impact others, as to say, you can do this. This is where I made mistakes. You can do it yourself now. Don't hold yourself back. Keep moving forward, and eventually you're going to hit your goals. That's kind of the story that it goes on in my head, right? It's like, a lot of roadblocks. Then God opened doors, God shut doors, opened doors, shut doors. And I kept forging ahead until I had this school. And I had to go find coaches. And by the way, guys, you can go see my mentor, Terry Brumley, and I just had. He's on my audio podcast now. I did him last week. And I'm going to tell you guys something, man. It was an awesome to catch up with him. He's just he's an infectious guy. You love his southern draw and how he talks and what he's done to help other people. And he took me under his wing. Didn't ask for a dime from me, took me under his wing, and made sure that this Chats with Karate, this America's Best, never shut its doors because of him. So it's been an awesome thing to be with Terry. And if you're looking for a good podcast, go catch him on it and go check it out. Okay. So with that being said, guys, hey, let me help you a little bit. Get yourself mindset set for what's coming down the pike for yourself, okay, in 2023. Because, at the end of the year, we always kind of take a minute and we kind of reflect back and what was the highs, what was the lows, what can I change? Did I gain weight? Did I lose weight? Did I do this? Da, 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 da. Can I be a better father? Listen, we can always kind of achieve everything, but I want to talk about the mindset of a warrior, okay? Now, a warrior doesn't just always mean, somebody that's out there that can handle physical fighting, right? Oh, he's a warrior, you know what I mean? Or she's a warrior. Being a warrior is kind of setting our sights on something and being able to forge forward and allow others to watch us not quit, right? And then in turn, we get to show them, hey, this is what I did. This is the adversity that I went through. You can do it too. Don't hold yourself back. And, you are just the same type of warrior as anybody else. Because to be honest with you, if you have a dog in the fight, man, and you're a fighting dog, you are going to find a way to win. And this is a mindset. This is not a resolution, guys. This is a mindset. When you set your mind to do something, I want to see you follow through with it. Not just, think about it. Think about if you can do this. Think about if you can do that. I want you to have the mindset of what next steps am I doing now to get to my goal? Have I written my goals down? Have I invested in myself? Have I done some things to improve for me? So I'm just going to give you a couple of pointers for me, just me personally, okay? Luckily I'm in a course right now with Michael Faber, and it's kind of a deep dive into entrepreneurship and stuff a little bit. And I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. And just in these short 11 lessons so far, when we go live every day, and these short lessons every day has already went and improved my what's going on in my mindset on and how to have a better direction so I'm not wasting time. You got a couple things, right, during times that you guys are doing things, whether it's these resolutions. But if you can compress time and use other people's mistakes and other people's growth and listen to them and not have the same pitfalls that you got to come out of, man, isn't that worth something? And that's why I've always felt, it's something to have a coach, man. You got to have a coach that's going to talk to you and that's going to mentor you, that's going to help you navigate through stuff that you didn't have expecting to come up, and all of a sudden it's there. And you're like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And so I encourage you now to find that coach. Now, listen, let me talk to you guys that are seasoned, because I have, at my in my where I'm at in my life now, where I'm kind of a as much as I love to teach on the mat, I also love to teach the teachers, to train the trainers. You take my experience, my teaching experience, all the mistakes I made, and trust me, I made them all the time, and I still make them. Whether it's something I shouldn't have I said on the mat, or the way I said it on the mat, or this is what I believe it needs to happen, and make sure that you guys don't have the same pitfalls that I had, and say, hey, listen, you want to avoid this? This is what you should do. Now, whether you listen or not, that's up to you. But I have also learned that people that have been in the arena for a long time, they're like, what is this? What's so-and-so going to teach me? What's this guy? He doesn't ever own a martial arts school. What's he going to teach me? Oh, maybe it's a business seminar or something to that effect. And if you go into life with this negativity thought that you've reached your pinnacle of the thought process, even in your own niche, man, you are stifling yourself. It's like putting a thumb on progress, right? And you're just like, I already know this, and I knew this, and then all of a sudden there's this one little nugget that comes out, and you're like, wow, I didn't think about that. I didn't know about that. I should have known about that, but I didn't. And so, with that being said, I really hope that you guys have that mindset to take yourself to the next level. And don't wait till January 1st to take yourself to the next level. Start making your plans today. Start implementing them today, and start refining them as you go. Because resolutions say, I'm going to do this. Goals say, I'm going to do this. And when your goals hit, maybe something has hit the wall, and you're going to have to reevaluate. Okay, I'm going for this. Now let me reevaluate my process, because I got to go this route because this has happened. Anything of that sort. That's what's kind of happening for people. So I want to talk about mindset and some announcements that's going to happen with me, especially. Okay. So if you guys are on the replay, do me a favor. This is how you help us podcasters out there in the world. And if you listen to me, and if I bring you any value, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Go to my website, markcox.com. You're going to see all the platforms. I'm either on Apple Podcast, I'm on, Anchor, I'm on Spotify, I'm on all the ones. Now, if you would do me a favor, if you want to help us, you either go to YouTube or you go to those things and you make a review. Reviews and subscribe is what helps the podcasters. It's what helps us kind of climb the ladder and the algorithms to help us out. So if you're looking for a way to kind of help out those that you listen to, go subscribe and leave them a good 5-star review, because those things is what elevates their podcast or their message. So if the message resonates with you, do a solid and go out there and give them a like and give them a subscribe. This is what helps us podcasters, just so you know how it works. This is all part of mindset that I'm talking about. Isn't it? Let me tell me if you agree with this. Not everybody that's watching you and is rooting for you is really rooting for you. A lot of times people are watching you to see what you do and seeing if you're going to fail or not. This is more than likely what happens, because I've always found it weird, right? We're in this realm and we're in this way of helping each other, yet you don't like things, or you don't listen to people, or You don't take time to, this is supposed to be your friend. Now imagine this, right? This is, if let's say I opened up a coffee shop, I've always kind of wanted one. So I'll just go for that route, right? I open up the coffee shop and I'm put it out there and I've got all these friends and, all of a sudden everybody wants a deal, right? Well, you giving out free coffee today and as opposed to having the mindset of how can I support those I love so much this time, what they're doing in their life and their entrepreneurship or what they're doing? How can I support them? Right? Shouldn't we be pouring everything into our people that we love that, hey, if they're going to come out with this, hey, I'm going to buy that. Okay. If they're coming out with this, if they're opening up this, I want to go after it. Okay. Oh, they're having a coaching or a mentoring thing. I want to jump in there. So many times we have on the bookshelves, even me, I'm no different than anybody else, right? Sometimes we buy things just to say that we have them on the bookshelf, not that we've really utilized them all, correct? And so how about this year? The mindset is, hey, when I get something, I'm going to use it. I'm going to implement it. I'm going to encourage others to do the same thing. See, this is mindset, not resolutions, guys. I'm hoping that this resonates with you because I want to tell you that when I sit back and look, I have a lot of followers, right? But I have this little niche that really kind of comes in my corner and kind of pushes me forward. And you have thousands of people that watch you or say they're friends with you, and you got maybe 10% of them that are really with you. I want you to think about that, right? Out of 1,000 people, maybe 100 really, really listen to what you have to say or enjoy your product or spend time in your life, in our busy lives. I just find that if there's a mindset that you guys have to change, if you want people to resonate with you, you got to resonate back. It's a back and forth, right? So, let's just talk about authors. For instance, I showed you my book here earlier in the podcast, but you know, we have a group and I think it's important that in the group that if they're authors and we're all in this together and we're launching our books together, we each should have each other's books. We should be buying each other's books and saying, okay, I'm going to support you in this endeavor. Okay. I'm going to support you here. And it resonated too when I put the book out, right? This book here. And I said, hey, if you pre-order, I'll be able to do an autograph copy and stuff like that. I gave my website out and I sold probably about 150 books, right? And I would say about 20 of them. So let's talk about that, right? In my original Facebook, I had 2,500 followers, right? And I had about 150 books. Is that not about 10%? And 10% of the people came out and said, hey, I'm going to go and support Mr. Cox right now, and I'm going to buy this thing. And then 20 of the books was bought by Carson Fortner out in Pooler. So 20 of those 150 were bought by another karate school. Now, that doesn't mean to say once I have my book, there's something about pre-launch, right? Once you have the book, people kind of going to go buy and they look forward to it. And I can have some signings and I see myself selling well over 1,000 books for sure. But, with that being said, those 10% that's kind of got your back and they kind of push you forward and they want to see you win and they want to see you succeed. Are you one of those people? Are you ones on the background just watching people and kind of from the background hoping for the failure? Right? I'm going to watch them. I'm going to, I'll even encourage, but I want to see them kind of tank. Are we that kind of people? You'd be surprised on how many people are that way, right? Right? Not everybody we fight is our enemy. Right? That's for sure. Not everybody we fight is our enemy, and not everybody that encourages us or loves us is our friend. I want you to think about that. Mike Tyson said that, and it was a true statement when he said it. It's resonated with me for a long time. Can you imagine Mike, the people in his corners? When he had a lot of money, everybody was his friend. When he was down in the dumps, not so much. And so I think it's the same thing here. So listen, if I can encourage you anything, you guys, to change a mindset is to change the world, because you can't change the world, but you can change your world, and you can change on how you react to things. So I'm hoping that resonates with you a little bit. So with that being said, let me give you some updates on what's going to be cracking here for me for 2023, right? So I always have a little bit of goals in my mind, and I've been thinking about this for a long time. This podcast is not going away. I enjoy coming after people. And if you are listening now, if you could, in the comments, hit replay so I know that people are listening. Like I said before, you can see, my YouTube is Real Talk with Mark Cox. At Real Talk with Mark Cox is the YouTube. And markcox.com is where the audio portion of it. So if you guys know me, I do a video portion and I do an audio portion. I started out with only audio podcasting. And then, StreamYard comes along and it makes filming a little bit easier. And so I start filming also, because you're allowed to have a video and you can download audio. And so that's what I decided to do. And so I have both. I got a YouTube channel that's got the video, and markcox.com is the audio of everything that I've done. So you're welcome to go to Spotify and Apple and subscribe and do all that kind of stuff and listen to these podcasts that I have. I got some awesome guests on there, guys. Fantastic guest. And I got some awesome ones coming up. Really good ones coming up. Next week, as a matter of fact, I've got a gentleman that is a 600-pound weight loss. Now, you wait till you hear his story, Justin's story. It's going to be awesome. And so I've got other people that are coming up for the next year and authors. But so here's some announcements for myself, just in case you know. So, part of my niche, guys, is having the mindset of, if you know me personally, any of my story, people told me all the time I'd never have a martial arts school, or I didn't have the body type for a martial artist, or I still hear that today. And, I went after it, and I went and proved people wrong time and time and time again, right? And winning championships and opening up a school and having hundreds of black belts, and having an organization where I mentor other school owners in their journey of other stuff. I've done this. I put it in their face. I hope you guys do the same thing. Hate drives me. I don't know how it does you. Sometimes hate depresses you. Hate drives me. Every time I hear it, my mind clicks, and it just goes into a different mode that not only am I going to prove you wrong, you're going to have to respect what I've done by the time it's all said and done. It's just the way, it's just how I'm wired. Maybe you're not wired that way, but it's how I'm wired. And I think that mindset is a huge thing. And part of the things that hold us back is ourselves. We hold ourselves back because we just don't get after it. I don't know why. We just don't do it. And so I have a new podcast coming for 2023. I've already got the website name and everything's out there, and it's going to be right up my alley. But this time, this one's going to be a little fun. All right. So it's going to be more, I don't know if I'm going to do live, just so you know. I might do a couple live on this new podcast, but this Real Talk with Mark Cox is not going away. Live, authors, entrepreneurs, studio owners, martial artists, whatever it is that we're going to interview, I'm going to continue this podcast for sure. It's not going anywhere. But the new podcast that we're going to kind of be able to do in studio sometimes it'll be like this, where I got to go across the country, but I'm going to have different co-hosts on the new podcast. All right. So it's going to be me and another one. The podcast's niche is going to be more of mindset and how to get after doing what you do, and stop holding back yourself and not do it. So are you ready for the podcast name? The podcast name is going to be Goya, Goya. Goya podcast, hosted by Mark Cox and whatever the other co-host is going to be. So I'm already started to reach out for some co-hosts where we can do maybe 4 sections at a time, and we're going to start dropping these podcasts out once we start getting them done. All right. So if we're going to be live in the studio, it'd be can you imagine a group of military guys and police guys, and we're sitting at the table and we're talking about mindset and what that looks like? Can you imagine a female co-host that has overcome this adversity in her life, right? Like a Marilyn Morales who lost somebody in the 9/11 on top of it, in the 9/11, and we co-host together what mindset it took to get past some of this stuff. So the Goya stands for get off your ass. That's what it stands for. Get off your ass and get things done. Stop talking and get going. And seeing if I can't bring some people together where we can talk about mindset and I can ask the questions. How did you get through that? And we can co-host and we can go back and forth and ask each other questions. So this is the new podcast coming out for 2023. You guys will see it. The logos will be coming out, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to reaching out for co-host. How it's going to work is a good 4 to 6 shows maybe as you co-host with me. I'm not sure I'm doing hour shows or 30-minute shows just yet, but you never know. Sometimes they start 30 and you know how it can get going, and all of a sudden it changes, right? And I'm going after co-hosts that maybe never co-hosted a podcast before, but I've interviewed them and their stories are so compelling that co-hosting something is a little bit different because they can ask and I can ask and they can ask. They can ask and I can ask. And we can do something that's a little bit different and that you guys can learn from us that have done something that maybe you haven't done or maybe you have. And so this is going to be the new podcast. Real Talk's going nowhere. Real Talk with Mark Cox is going nowhere. But the new podcast for 2023 is called Goya, Goya, Goya Podcast, hosted with Mark Cox and co-host. And the logos will be out. It's going to be out soon. And does it not fit me? Get off your ass or not, right? Stop talking and let's get moving and shaking, all right? Because as I get older, we can't sit and contemplate back and forth. We got to get after it, man. And that's what I want to do is I want to get after it. So with that being said, now, listen, I haven't made I've made a Facebook for it, but I want to tell you guys something about Facebook real quick. So I've had Mark Cox 100 ever since I opened up Facebook. I think back in 2010, 2011. I don't know how long. I have 2,500 followers on that, 2,500, maybe 28. I don't even remember what it was. All of a sudden, Facebook has asked me for an ID verification, and they asked me for an ID verification. I send the ID verification because I don't want to lose the page, and they still haven't okayed it. When you log in, it just says, hey, we got your documentations. If we need more, we're going to reach out to you. It's been a good 10 days now, right? No word from Facebook. You can't, there's nobody to contact. You can't contact anybody. There's no email that's been answered, and they just leave you hanging. So I want you to know that, listen, once again, this is something that I've learned now. If you put all your eggs in one basket, and just so you know, I've created pages and groups underneath Mark Cox 100. A Real Talk, my podcasting, I can't get into that. I can't get into Beyond the Mat. I can't get into the Daily Discipline. I can't get into any of that stuff because it is under that Mark Cox 100 that they have not released. Whether they're going to release it or not, I don't know. And so I've got 10 years of pictures, 10 years of life on there. And that's just gone so far. What you're seeing me on today is America's Best. And I started at about the same time. It was kind of for the studio. And so I've had to resurrect it. And that's what you're listening to today. There's a couple things, guys, that when you guys are out there on this Facebook, where I didn't really realize that you can download all your stuff from Facebook and keep it. It might take a long time if you've been around for a long time, but there's a download. There's a way to save your Facebook. I wish I would have done that so I wouldn't lose everything, because I really don't know if they're going to allow my page to come back or not. I didn't do anything. I'm not controversy about anything. I'm not a political page, and by any means. And they were just asking for ID verification. So that just tells you right now, you're really not in control of your stuff unless you're in control, right? So, luckily I have my website I have a website with all my audio. That doesn't mean that, you got to back up all your other stuff. You got YouTube channels and stuff, guys. I would seriously consider backing up your YouTube channel, your videos, because they can shut you down just as much. Remember, we're on borrowed time when it comes to them. If they decide they don't want your content or whatever, it's just gone. So if you don't have a backup plan or a backup way of having your stuff, they can just kind of come in, say, I'm going to shut this down and shut that down, and then it's over. And then you got to start from scratch again. which is something that I may have to do. I really don't know. I don't know if I'm going to have to do it or not do it. I just don't know. I don't know if they're going to keep America's Best up and going. You know what I mean? I was down for 3 or 4 days, and I decided to resurrect this one because I thought it would just be 48 hours and they would have it and we'd be done. And I had a little vacation from Facebook, but that's just not the case. They really took it down, and this is what's happening. So I would encourage you guys, if you guys have that, first of all, I would download, go search, how to save Facebook data, and so that you know how to do it, and download all your stuff so you have it. And also make sure that if something happens to you or you pass, there's a way that somebody else can either carry it on or disable your Facebook. It hasn't happened on Instagram. This has only happened on Facebook. But then again, Instagram could get shut down too, right? I just resurrected Twitter, and because I can go live on Twitter. I've resurrected LinkedIn. And so I have other outlets that I've come on. So if you guys, Mark Cox 100 is still on Twitter. Mark Cox 100 is still on LinkedIn. This is America's Best. And my YouTube channel is at Real Talk with Mark Cox. And you can find it there. So unfortunately, I just want to give you that update. That's why you don't see the Mark Cox 100. And there's definitely a different algorithm that's going on, because this Facebook that I'm on, not as many people see it yet. I guess it's got to go through an algorithm because it really hasn't been active for a while, and to get people kind of a little bit more active on it. So I'm hoping that that's what comes down for it after we hopefully get ID verified. Once I get ID verified, it may come back up. I really just don't know, because you can't talk to anybody. There's no phone number, there's no email, there's no nothing. You're at the mercy of them. And if they decide not to look at your stuff, then they don't look at your stuff. So do we really own the stuff that we have? Then the answer is no. Okay. Unless you go own the stuff that you have. Go get a website that nobody else can bother. Go get something else, that a place that you can have your videos, right? I have a Vimeo account. I have a YouTube account. I'm making a Rumble account next. Rumble, it seems to be somebody that doesn't take stuff down. So I have a Rumble account being made right now so that I can have another place for videos to go, and to have a platform where, your life's work doesn't just go down the drain because they decide that, hey, we don't, we're just going to cut this off. Oh, we can't verify you. Oh, we can't do this. Oh, we don't like what you have to say. I mean, it's brutal when you think about it, right? When it comes to do we have free speech or do we not? But I understand, the ID verification. Okay, I'm going to give a little bit of leeway on that at the point of Facebook is a free service, so they also have. If this is how they're going to run the business model, even though that I paid for ads and stuff like that. On the same token, if this is what they're going to do, this is what they're going to do. There's not really much I can do to change that what they're going to do, right? But what I can change is how you guys can see things, and how we continue on moving into a direction so that we can continue doing business, continue getting out there, continue getting our vision, our word and stuff out there. So that's just a little bit of update from where I stand as far as that goes. And I hope that helps you guys. If you guys, I'm telling you, I'm not a controversial guy on, back in 2012, I may have been, but I've learned some valuable lessons on what to say and not to say on Facebook. All right. It's not a place for me to try and change minds and stuff like that. That's why I want to use it a little bit more for putting my content out there and seeing that maybe my Facebook lives or my anything else that my podcasting and stuff can help resonate with something that can change in your life and help better your life. That's really kind of what I'm doing. And the guests that I bring on, I'm hoping does the same thing for you. So this is kind of where I'm at, guys, as far as the updates go. I'm super excited. January 6th that the book comes out. Once again, I got a couple other listeners on here right here. This, this book is kind of maybe an I don't know. You want to call it an autobiography? I don't know. You want to know some of the stuff inside my book, how I got my studio, how people told me I couldn't have the studio, and how the story of how I actually got it. All right. And the next one is, some of the deaths that I've had in my school and how they've impacted me. How my tournament days impacted me, how jujitsu impacted me, how my other students have impacted me. The book is is about 120 pages. It should not be a hard read by any means. And, it's just what I've done. And I know now that I'm going to write another book in the year coming up, if not two. And my next one is to try and write a book where it can actually, this is a book about, where I started and where I've came, what's transpired in my life to put me where I'm at, and the failures and the wins. I say this all the time: without failure, there's no growth. Without wins, there's no failure. Right? You got to have them both. You got to fail to win, and you got to win in order to understand your failures. You need them both. You need that learning component, and you need that winning component, so it feels good that, hey, all my hard work is paid off, and here I go, and it gives me the push to keep on going. So because it's not a question of will adversity hit you. It's a question of when adversity will hit you, because it's going to hit you. It's going to hit you square in the face, and how you deal with it at that time is going to be important on what you do. So anyway, I don't want to take up a whole lot of your time, and we're 36 minutes in, and I didn't want to make this a super long one today. Next week I'll have Justin on with me. You're looking at a man that lost 600 pounds next week. I'm looking forward to him, and I'm hoping that we can kind of get together a little bit and we can co-host a new Goya podcast together for a few episodes, right? We can co-host a little bit. So with that being said, if you guys are hitting replay, do me a favor and just hit replay that you listen to it all the way through. Hit replay on the comments, or make sure you go subscribe and like. And if you guys look at this little ticker right here on the bottom, right here, right on the bottom, you see this little ticker. It says buy me a coffee.com/Mark Cox. Hey, listen, next year, guys, I have gotten some emails and direct messages about having sponsors. I haven't really had sponsors just yet. The only sponsor that I've had is my book. I've sponsored my own show with my book. And I have Rev Gear. Rev Gear is out there. It's a martial arts line, and they've given me a code that if you put it in, you can get 10% off on your order. So they're a sponsor of my show. I've got some other people that want to do sponsors. If that's something that you're interested in and you want to talk to me a little bit about sponsoring the show, we can definitely do that. If you want to, put some investment into the show, if it's giving you any value, you can go to this buymeacoffee.com / and you can do a $5 donation or whatever. And we've got some newer equipment that we've invested in. And so we have some new investments, and, running a podcast costs money. Running a professional podcast costs some money. Yeah. Having the website up and it looks professional. I have all my artwork done by a professional. And so it looks professional for you. So when you share things, April does an awesome job on all of my stuff. So you have this professional looking podcast cover that you get to put out to your people and say, hey, I was on a podcast. I talked about this. If you have a book, all that kind of stuff, it takes money to run all the stuff. And I haven't really asked for sponsorships at all, but they're starting to come to me now. So, and also I am now on this podcast now is on Amazon Music. You can find Real Talk with Mark Cox if you have an Amazon account on Amazon Music. Amazon Music. Now I'm on this account, and I was able to get on there with the audio podcasting. So you're welcome. You have Amazon Music now. You can find the podcast. And you've got Spotify. You've got Apple. You've got I've got about 10 different ways that you can find the audio podcast that I do. So with that being said, if there's stuff that you want to do, guys, if you want to co-host with me a little bit, you want to get down and dirty, and we'll have some fun and laughs and maybe possible tears here and there, then I would encourage you to reach out. 2023 Goya podcast is coming. Real Talk is going to be still on Mondays. If you want an interview podcast with me and you're looking to do that, I would encourage you to write to Mark Cox podcast@gmail.com. I'll send you a Calendly link. You guys are welcome to sign up. We'll meet a little bit, make sure it's a fit for what you need. I want to be able to service you and your product or yourself. This is about putting you out there and giving you a more professional look. And so if that's something I can help you with, I look forward to doing that. make sure you email me that. If you guys like, if once again, say this once again, I said it in the beginning, I'm going to say it in the end, and I'll say it again, but the way a podcaster gets acclimates or the algorithm helps them is by subscribing and liking it or reviewing. Okay. Yes. Anytime if you subscribe and if what I've said has resonated with you, can you share it? And can you leave a review? These are the three things that can really help a podcaster what he does. It doesn't take much to share. I know sometimes when people don't like to hit the share button because they're like, oh man, I don't know. It's, am I pushing stuff on people? But you just never know. You never know who you're going to help out with whatever podcast I had on at the time, and you can share that. So if you can share it, it's a help. If you can do a review, it's a help. Apple Podcasts have reviews. Spotify has reviews. YouTube has reviews. If you haven't subscribed to YouTube, I would encourage you there. Just so you know, my podcasts aren't on TikTok just yet, but I also found out that you can't really go live on TikTok until you got 1,000 followers. And think about that. You can't even go live. So the Goya podcast is coming. Get Off Your Ass podcast in 2023 with Mark Cox and co-host. So I'll be having different co-hosts. Once again, it's going to be the Goya podcast. Real Talk will be on Mondays. The Goya podcast will be a little bit different format. So they'll be kind of trickled out. They probably will not be live. You know what I mean? We'll do those in more of a recording type of thing, and we're going to put them out on video, put them out on YouTube, put them out on my website for both video and audio. We'll have them both, whether we use StreamYard or we'll be in studio doing it. I have a few guys that we're going to be in studio. I'm looking forward to hopefully having Louis Mercado, the Breaking Bad boy, as one of the co-hosts. Him and I have talked a little bit already. We got some awesome podcast co-hosts coming up, and we're going to talk about mindset for sure. Goya stands for Get Off Your Ass, and that's what that podcast is going to be, is to stop thinking and start doing. And what we did, the adversity that hit us, and what made us maybe not excel to what we needed to what pushed us to be better at what we're doing. So that's kind of where I'm going to be at. I hope this resonates with you guys. Do me a favor. I know we've got some listeners on here already, right? So if you could, and put down a replay that you've heard this. Unfortunately, it's not on my Mark Cox. I get a lot more views on the Mark Cox 100. I think this algorithm is starting to work on the America's Best Facebook. This is the problem with when they shut you down and what happens. So if you guys could do me a favor and share it, do me a favor and like it, and do me a favor and review it. You guys help me move the podcast up to the newest directions. I got Spotify numbers out, and I mean, we had an awesome, as far as listeners, as far as what's the most listened to podcast in 2022, most listened to podcast, if you haven't learned, was Ryan Davis. He's the combat Marine. That's a triple amputee. He was the #1 podcast for me this past year. If you haven't heard his story, go listen to Ryan Davis podcast. You will definitely enjoy it. You will not be disappointed. With that being said, guys, once again, my website is markcox.com. My book website is beyondthematbook.com. Okay. Beyond the Mat was taken. So it's beyondthematbook.com. You can still pre-order now. Things are coming in. I'll be autographing them soon. It's going to be released on January 6th, officially in a book camp, and I'll be in Philadelphia doing that. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys have an awesome Born to Win day. Listen, don't make resolutions. Make goals. Go after your goals and stay after it. Okay? I love you guys. I'm going to be talking soon. Remember, 2023, Goya, get off your ass. I know you can. All right? I'm looking for co-hosts. If that's going to be you, reach out to me. We're going to have some fun. Have an awesome Born to Win day. Bye.